Try to remember your first birthday. Go on, really try. Nothing comes up. Not the cake, not the faces, not the room. But the real answer isn't that you forgot. It's that the memory was never built in the first place. Scientists call this infantile amnesia. Almost everyone experiences it. Somewhere between the age of 3 and 4, memories start to stick. Everything before that mostly vanishes, and it happens for a reason your brain couldn't control. Start with the hippocampus. This is the part of your brain that stitches experiences into long-term memories you can consciously recall. In infants, it's still under construction. Neuroscientist Paul Franklin has studied this closely, and his research points to something surprising. Babies aren't failing to remember. Their brains are producing new neurons at an explosive rate, and that flood of growth may actually be wiping out or scrambling the fragile circuits that would have held early memories in place. Think about that for a second. Your brain wasn't broken during infancy. It was too busy building itself to also archive the experience. So what were you doing all that time? Learning, constantly. Babies recognize their mother's voice within days of birth. They form attachments, they learn to walk. They absorb the rhythm of language before they can speak a single word. That's memory too. It's just a different kind, called procedural and emotional memory, and it doesn't require the hippocampus the same way. Autobiographical memory, the kind that lets you say, "This happened to me on this day, in this place," needs something else entirely. It needs a sense of self, and that sense of self doesn't arrive at birth. It develops slowly through the first few years, as a child starts to understand that they are a separate person moving through time. Without that scaffolding, there's no I for a memory to attach to. The experience can happen. It just has nowhere to live. Language plays a role too. Psychologist Carol Peterson has spent decades studying how children talk about their past. Her research found something striking. Once toddlers learn to put experiences into words, those experiences become far more likely to survive as memories years later. Language gives events a shape, a beginning, a middle, an end. Before that, an experience is just a wash of sensation, with no narrative thread to pull it back out later. So here's the timeline your brain was actually running on. In infancy, the hippocampus is still forming, while new neurons flood in and disrupt early circuits. There's no stable self yet to anchor memories to, and there's no language yet to encode experiences into a story you could later retrieve. Three separate systems, all offline at once. It's not one missing piece. It's the whole apparatus still being built. By around age 3 or 4, that machinery starts coming online. The hippocampus matures. A sense of self solidifies. Language takes over as the tool for encoding the past. And that's usually when your very first memories begin to appear. Even then, they tend to be fuzzy, fragmented, more like a single photograph than a full scene. Researchers have found that a lot of what feels like an early memory may actually be reconstructed later, built partly from photos or family stories rather than pure first-hand recall. Here's what's strange about all of this. Somewhere in your life were thousands of days you'll never get back. Not because you weren't there, not because nothing happened. You laughed, you were held, you were afraid of the dark. You learned what your own name meant. All of it real, none of it retrievable. You spent your first years as a person having a life with no witness inside your own head to record it. So next time someone asks about your earliest memory, and you land on some blurry fragment from age 4 or 5, remember what came before it. Years of a fully lived life running without a narrator. Not lost. Never written down in the first place. The strangest part might be this. You are building the very brain that would one day remember things. using years you'll never be able to look back on. The system had to come online before it could ever record itself coming online.